Saturday morning, the Experts program kicks off, and that means Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joins us right now on Power Talk Radio. Luis, welcome back.
Thank you, Mark. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. So tell me, are you heading out to the boat this weekend?
I am. I'm going to be sailing tomorrow. We have a race in honor of one of our Shields veterans who passed away a few years ago. His name is Bob Fernie. The Shields class of boats is the biggest fleet that we have at the yacht club, and he was very instrumental in training everybody and getting them up to speed. I actually trained under him back when I first started sailing here in Monterey Bay, and we have a memorial race for him out to Lovers Point and back.
Oh, very cool. What time is that on Sunday?
So that'll be at 1 o'clock. You'll see us out there, and you'll just see a bunch of beautiful boats with beautiful spinnakers on the way back from Lovers all the way to the marina back in Monterey.
Well, you're going to sail right by my front window, so I'll watch you guys.
There you go. Take pictures.
Hey, we've got a couple big stories to talk about this morning. One of them is Microsoft's Exchange server attacked by Chinese hackers. What exactly is the Microsoft Exchange server, and what does this mean?
Well, most people have moved off of Microsoft Exchange on-premise, that is having a server in your office that runs Exchange, which is Microsoft's email server. And they moved on to hosted offerings like Office 365 or Microsoft 365 or even
Which are in the
G Suite.
cloud.
Yeah, which are in the cloud. But there's still a lot of Exchange servers out there. And what we discovered this week is that there was a vulnerability that nobody knew about that was being exploited by Chinese hackers on these on-prem servers. And it would let them take control of email accounts, which in some ways is like the keys to the kingdom. If I can take control of, let's say, the email account of a CEO in a firm and start sending emails and pretending to be him and redirecting information or, asking vendors to switch their online accounts to a different bank account, that sort of thing. That's called a CEO exploit, and it happens all the time. It's very dangerous and very debilitating. So these servers have this server, their Exchange server 2010 and above, and they have a vulnerability which needs to be patched immediately. And it became such a huge issue that the Department of Homeland Security declared an emergency and issued a notice to all private and public agencies to immediately address this issue, because they feel that this could be as bad as a SolarWinds hack that happened a few months ago.
Boy, speaking of SolarWinds, I see that they are planning on spending $25 million more on security to try and patch all the leaks that they have in that system.
Yeah, it's surprising for a company as big and as security focused as they are, because it's really what they do. It's one of the underlying themes of their products is security, that they would be so vulnerable and could be exploited to the extent that they have been. And companies like Microsoft and IBM have said that the SolarWinds exploit is not over, that there's going to be like another surge sometime in the future, because the exploit was so exploitable that a lot of the bad guys planted a lot of, think of it as landmines in networks that are just laying dormant until everybody kind of sits back, takes a big sigh of relief and says it's over, and then boom, it happens again.
Oh boy. Yeah, there was a program on 60 Minutes a few weeks ago where they talked about this SolarWinds hack.
That was frightening.
Yeah.
I
you
watched
saw that. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it was the way it was uncovered was somebody was really paying attention, and they noticed that one of the employees who works for SolarWinds, in accessing into the company system, because this person was working remotely, was using two-factor authorization. And normally you only have one telephone number for two-factor authorization, right? And you have your cell phone on file with them, and you get like a 6-digit code texted to you, and you punch that in, and that allows you into the system. Well, this person watching the system just noticed, wait a minute, there's two phone numbers on this MFA? That's weird. Picks up the phone, calls the employee at the other end of the VPN connection and says, hey, have you got two phone numbers for your multi-factor authorization? He says, what? He says, well, I see we've got this number, say area code 123-555-1212 and area code 231. And the guy's like, no, I only have this. That was the thing that said, whoa, that was the red flag that went up.
Yeah, and that's a sad state of cybersecurity today, is we have all of these very sophisticated automated tools, but when it comes right down to it, a lot of times these breaches are caught by people who just are observant and just happen to look at something at the right time and decide, I need to take action. So that's why we emphasize cybersecurity awareness as one of the fundamental pillars of our cybersecurity offering.
And I guess, the thing too, when you think about that, Luis, is the observant individual. This is one of the values of employees with institutional knowledge. People who've been around for a while and are familiar with how the systems work on a day in, day out basis, because often it's that anomaly. It's someone catching an anomaly in a system that raises the red flag and causes you to go go in looking for it, because all of their own cybersecurity tools that they had online that are supposed to work automatically in the background weren't catching any of this, right?
Yep, exactly. Unfortunately, you can fool software if you know what you're doing, but it's really hard to fool an observant individual who knows when something just doesn't look or smell right.
Because that's the X factor that you can't account for.
Yep, exactly.
And I guess, with this whole thing, with this Chinese hack that we're experiencing here, also with this Microsoft Exchange attack, Homeland Security declared it to be a national emergency and an unacceptable risk.
And I think we're going to see, as much as my industry and a lot of industries don't like regulation, I think we're at the tipping point where legislators at the federal and the state level are going to say, hey, enough is enough. We need to make sure that people are doing the right things and taking care of themselves. It's already happened in the banking industry, for example. They're very tightly regulated by the FDIC and an organization called the FFIEC. But I could see just regular industry, especially industries that depend on the supply chain to supply food and water and some of the critical services that we need, like power and gas, getting tighter regulation to ensure that they're doing everything that they can to protect their networks.
Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, has been our guest this morning, kicking off the Experts program here on Power Talk Radio. Online, it's alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is the Twitter handle. And Luis, the toll-free number for that I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.